Hey guys, it's Joe here from Style You by Joe. And as most of you know, last night I went to the Taste of Home show here in Reading at the Scottish Rite Cathedral. You guys do know because you're following me, right? Right. So anyway, the chef there was Amy Z, and I say Z because I don't want to butcher her last name, and she said Z most of the time. She made a couple great recipes, some things that I definitely want to try here at home and make for you, and some things out of the book that I'm going to definitely make. But one of the things that she made last night was made with a roux. Now, one of my friends leaned over and said, "Hey Joe, do you know if you can use almond milk to make a roux?" Almost sounded like a "Hey Joe, what do you know?" We'll get to that part quick. So, a roux is a thickening agent for something like a gravy, or it's the base of a sauce like a bechamel. Either way, you start out the same way. Now, you're going to need a couple different tools. You're going to need a handy dandy pan like this. You're going to need a measuring cup for your flour and a measuring cup for whatever liquid you're using. You're also going to need a whisk. I don't like my balloon whisk for this. I don't think it gets in there enough. I like a tighter whisk that I can really get in there and move the flour around. So, I said liquid. And by liquid, I mean a fatty liquid. A milk, a stock that you've made like at Thanksgiving time when you cook your turkey and all those drippings drip down into the bottom. You could even use turkey. But it needs to be a fatty liquid. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume that I know the reason why. You can't use an olive oil or a canola oil, and I believe it's because their cooking temperature is much lower than any other liquid, because you need that fatty liquid to come to a rolling boil in your pan. And I know that olive oil and canola oil have a higher cooking temperature. So, what you're going to do is you're going to pour in your liquid to the saucepan. You're going to bring it to a gentle rolling boil. Once it gets there, you're going to add your flour a little bit at a time, and you're going to get in there and just mix it around. You want the flour to absorb all of that fatty liquid. When you're finished, it's going to be the color of flour. It's going to smell like flour. Now that's not fully cooked until it starts to not smell like flour, or as a normal person would say, it stops smelling like flour. Not normal. But anyway, so you're going to bring that. Now, that is a white roux. If your recipe calls for a copper roux, they mean you need to cook that until it's the color of a penny, hence copper roux. Now, if it gets too thick while it's cooking in the pan, if it looks too dry, you can add a little bit more of that liquid. I always measure out what I'm going to be using, especially if it's a milk, because you don't want a cold liquid to go back into that pan. So leave a little bit of that extra milk, a little bit of that extra stock out. That being said, Aaron, to answer your question, yes. Almond milk has enough fat content to it that you can use an almond milk. So if you're trying to go lactate free, almond milk is perfectly able to be used for that. Also, I like to, during the holiday times, if I'm using the stock from the bottom of the pan of the turkey, I add a little bit of wine to it if I need to thicken it out. Water. Who uses water? Because water has no flavor. Anyway, guys, there's the answer for that. If anybody wants to see me actually make a roux, I would be more than happy to do that. This channel is for you guys as much as it is for me. You guys have a stylish day. Keep on following me. Again, any questions, let me know. Bye-bye now.